Hello and welcome to another Pivotal Moments with Lolita. We have a very special Pivotal Moments today. I am very excited to have my guest joining the conversation. Dior is just an activist, a humanitarian. I'm going to have her really tell you all the things that she is doing, but specifically, there's something very, very big happening the end of this week. So I'm going to definitely turn it over to Dior. Welcome to the conversation. Tell us about who you are and what's going on.
Yes. Hello, everybody. And thank you so much for having me, Loletta. My name is Dior Ashley Brown, MC, actor, poet, host, founder of the DC Music Summit, activist. I embrace the slash. I feel like artists should be able to submerge. And, when you follow your passion, you end up having like a toolkit of many, many things you do. And so I live in a lot of those things, especially being an indie artist. You need a toolkit full of things because you have to be flexible in order to teach, grab gigs, opportunities, because you are an entrepreneur. You are your own business. You are your own promotion. You're pushing yourself. But yeah, I'm so excited to be on this show, and we have a DC Music Summit coming up. So I think it's the other way. We have DC Music Summit coming up. I'm so excited. This will be our fourth annual. What the DC Music Summit is, it's a conference for creative professionals, for musicians, for comedians, for anybody who puts their art out there on like recordings, or even if they're influencers, or anything in the digital sphere. What the conference is surrounding is getting your business together, getting your music business straight. So we have sessions and panels that are geared towards understanding the DMV scene. I mean, if you're from New York and you're in New York, you can also watch the summit online, and still understand, how can I break into the DMV market? So I don't want people to think, limited via their region or what state they live in. And
Wow.
so, yeah, thank you. And so the summit is full of panels, sessions, live performances. Our keynote speaker is a Grammy-nominated artist. We have for the music industry panel A to Z, we're going to have local DJs who have worked on radio, like 93.9, 95.5, 92Q, and then we also have Grammy board members for the DC chapter who are also going to be on that panel, and many, many, many others. There's going to be so much talent and information shared, and that's really what DC Music Summit is doing. To become a flagship, we're changing the norm. We're knocking out that crabs in the barrel mentality, and we're saying, look, we need to share knowledge. We need to grow. The creative community is a force, and a force to be reckoned with. And so that's what we're pushing and implementing now. Yep. So the summit will be May 21st to the 23rd. That is a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can go to dcmusicsummit.org. You can follow us on our Twitter or Instagram or Facebook at DC Music Summit. And yeah, and you can access it virtually. And great news, and I'm so glad to break it on your show, Loletta, you'll be able to attend the summit in person as well. There will be a viewing party at the Eaton Hotel. So the Eaton Hotel is right downtown DC on K Street. Very beautiful, community-oriented hotel. Really curates Black and Indigenous and people of color's art. And it is an awesome space. And so they're allowing us to use several rooms to host viewing party. It's available up to 50% capacity. So that's about 200, about 100 to 200 people can be about the space in different rooms, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna, everybody just has to wear their mask. You can bring your laptop and headphones. And we're also going to be projecting the conference on all of the projection screens and TV screens. So you can have some camaraderie, work with others, ask questions, but, maintain social distancing, bring your hand sanitizer and wear a mask.
Y'all see what I'm saying? You see why? Listen, there's just so much. Like, first of all, let me just calm down because I get so excited. So first of all, Dior, it always impresses me when someone not only is just talented, right, and they're doing their own thing, but when they have the fortitude and the courage and the tenacity to actually put other people on and really dedicate resources and energy and passion to not just bringing themselves up, but actually doing that for other people. So just that alone, I'm like blown away and super amazed and proud of just what you represent and who you are.
Yeah.
So I just need to start with that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you for saying the fortitude and tenacity because, yes, instantly, when you're growing up in this, you believe that you're invincible, that you can do it all. And there are times where I was like, oh my God, I'm burnt out, I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
And I would take baby steps, like literally roll over and be like, you know
Mm.
what? I'm not going to give up today. I'm going to keep moving forward. So thank you for saying fortitude and tenacity because I am human. Just because you want to do a lot doesn't mean you have to do it all right away. You can do it in baby steps and you can take
Mm.
your time and you can actually, tap on others for help.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. Excuse me. And I love just again with this the summit happening at the end of the week, and of course
Yeah.
the information is there on the screen.
Yes.
I mean, it's growing up in the area,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
seeing just the DMV how it's transitioned and changed, and it's just this is just such an important event, and especially right now in
Yeah.
the culture and climate that we're in, this is so important to really honor the creatives and
Yeah.
really, like you said, just bring people together to
Yeah.
show what it's all about. So
Yeah.
look, kudos.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, let's talk about pivotal moments.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm sure, like most people, there were probably hundreds of moments that came to your mind. But what will you be sharing with us for today's conversation?
Yeah, there were several moments that led up to this moment, but I'm going to bring up kind of like a two or three that kind of flow together.
Okay.
I went to University of Maryland. I studied theater performance. I went to study theater. Music was always my backdrop. I had my own composition book in the cut, and the more I started to perform, and I was pushing people to value my art form as art. I wanted to be able to be in different places and spaces and not always sound safe. And
Mm.
it's the same thing, even with visual artists that I think, especially visual Black artists, when they're creating, they don't want you to limit their art to anyone's space, and they don't want to say, oh, you can't come to them and say, I want this painting to be purple and white. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You've got
Yeah.
to let them do their art. And, I've been pushing people to kind of raise to my consciousness and open up their minds and value my work as art. And while I was doing that, I used to say I was starving a lot until somebody stopped me and said, no, you're thriving. You're a thriving artist. And I wanted to live off of what I do. I was in and out of jobs knowing that my passion wasn't in the work. My passion was in my music or in my art and anything I was doing in that space. And just getting people to see my value as a creative, as a Black woman creative, as a hip hop artist, fighting
Okay.
for that was frustrating, right? Because I was like, this is how am I going to be able to do what I do? I have to fight for it. So
Yeah.
that was a part of the pivotal moment.
Yeah.
And then, there was a time where I was just kind of like doing a lot of research on the past, and I noticed that um, there were constant stories of Black artists who were undervalued and people who I look up to, were underpaid, undervalued, couldn't retire, didn't have health insurance, couldn't leave a legacy, or not a financially abundant legacy. And
Mhm.
that really frustrated me as well, because I was hearing these stories, about Billie Holiday and documentaries, and watching what happened to TLC at the Grammys, saying, we didn't get a dime, and what, like, how do you not have anything? I was looking up to you, like, this is my whole drive and passion, and so I was really, saddened. I mean, even when I watched a documentary that was on Vlad, about one of the members of Milli Vanilli, who broke down really just how bad it was. And just to make that really short, he spoke on the fact that they were young kids who got wrapped up into a deal. They got excited, they passed them the money first, they knew they needed to pay their bills, then turned around and flipped the script on them, you know?
Wow.
And, I believe that perspective because, there's too many of us who have been victimized in that way, and so lastly, a part of that pivotal moment with also that information, there was a community I was growing. And I was growing it a part of the Muzai House, who was led by Gage at this time. I think, Gage at the time. And, none of the artists, including myself, really could like, pay for our membership. Even I was working there, so it was a lot of promotion, but I knew I was seeing all of us struggling and all of this talent, all of these talented artists. And all of the white artists in the DMV were getting like the really nice, like, gigs, at Union Theater and, all these things. And I was like, wow, Union Stage, excuse me. And I was like, I didn't even know that those opportunities existed for local artists. I thought they were all contracted out. And so I just got tired of it. And I was like, I want my community to thrive. Because what it is that we get that miscommunication, miseducation, and misdirection,
Yeah.
I want us to be informed. So there was a sister who was coming and hanging out the jams I was leading, which was like a whole freestyle jam with artists who were performing freestyles. And I was the conductor. It was really, really dope. And she used to come and relax, and she worked for Google. And I walked up to her and I was like, yo, I really want to do this for my community. She was like, okay, let's meet on another day. She brought in another lady who used to work with Mood Music, and we sat down and we planned this. And I wanted to continue with it as it was a part of my passion. And honestly, that was like my pivotal moment. Was like, I started seeing things change, because what was really special about the first one we had, it was in our warehouse. There was a warehouse called 411 Union Arts on New York Avenue.
Yeah.
And my group was on one of the floors. And when we were fighting to continue, to push, and I saw that 200 people at 2016, the DC Music Summit, 200 people showed up when I only expected 50 of our regular patrons to show up. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is a need in the community. People want to come to this. That was in 2016. We've been consistently 200 plus, it was 300 in 2020, our most recent year at Eaton Hotel. And then a year before that, about 250. So we were being consistent. I said, people need this. And easily, it seems like the community is latching on, and they're all saying the same language. People just want real, like any other business that they're helping, small business. We're small businesses.
Yeah.
If we get LLC'd or we get tax write-offs, all that, some of us don't even know that that's possible, because, you don't see your arts as a business. But yes, we are businesses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Wow. What a journey and story. And once again, putting your own, using your own experiences and the things that you were seeing firsthand, and
Mhm.
saying, I'm not going to just change this for me, but for others. Wow.
Right. I
That's
mean,
amazing.
and that's another, and yes, it was in my it's always been in my passion to be a humanitarian, to write books. But if you are a statistical or logical thinker, then the other thing is, why would I want people who have my level of talent hurting our market? So if you're out here saying my whole 6-piece band is $200 for this gig, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just think about, me trying to make a living off of what I do, how that's hurting me. And so that's another thing that I give to those people who talk about statistics and need the logical numbers. Like, well, I don't need my market to suffer. And that's
Yeah.
all beautiful Black women who are performing, doing hip hop or R&B bands or rock or whatever, that they need to be valued.
Smoking.
Let's go.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So when we talk about the pivotal moment, right, we've realized that that's basically there's that center thing, right, that everything else centers around when you think of literally a pivot in a pivotal moment. So when it comes to you, what would you say is the thing that you learned from this, that is that unchangeable central thing for you, then everything else will pivot around that? What would you say that was?
I mean, I would definitely say it's my art.
Mm-hmm.
If doing all of this grinding helps me tell my story, yes, you are a part of my story. You've shared this platform where I can tell my story, and my music is also a space where I can get you in there to kind of feel like and hear my fight in what I'm talking about and kind of cite like, okay, so I see what she's saying here, and this is she's really putting it into action here, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
I would say that my art is one of those spaces where it's unchanged, and
Mhm.
to continue to empower Black women and girls, even though my music, my art, my actions are for all, I want Black women and girls to be fit to feel it, to know it.
Wow. And I really can appreciate you saying that. It's interesting with May being Mental Health Awareness Month. All of the shows and articles and everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to really center around that because that's just very passionate for me. And you are probably about the third or fourth artist
Mm,
who has really talked about just the side of music that I think people don't think about. And that's the
mm,
true storytelling of your life and your passion and your dreams. And it's so refreshing because I've had from 20 years old and up, you
yeah,
know, like I said, this month sharing about dealing with things like, you know, depression and anxiety and, you know, suicidal thoughts and things like that, and using music and their lyrics to actually as a form of therapy,
yeah.
you know. And so it's so, I just, again, it's confirmation and refreshing to hear you even say your art, that is your central thing, and that's what you're using not just to entertain but to give that space for women and girls.
What you just said about how it's therapy. I mean, before I knew I could get a therapist or really took on yoga, my music and talking it out and writing it out and singing it out was what helped me move forward. So any music definitely is therapy. It
Yeah.
definitely is healing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So now switching gears a bit, we always, the viewers know, we always get to this point where we talk about adjustments because, you know, pivoting, sometimes we could think of that as our why, and that's so important to us. But adjustments, that's really when we adapt to something that can be uncomfortable or ugly. So tell us about a time when you've had to make the adjustments rather than the pivot.
Oh, wow, that's really a really great question. Make the adjustments other than the pivot. Um, hmm.
Makes you
Well,
think, right?
yeah, well, I can immediately bring up on the top of my mind, I'm thinking about in my music. I want others to hear it. And I'm a hip hop head, and I really respect hip hop and the sound of it. And I would say that my adjustment would was actually very authentic, in that it was like, you want to have more fun, you want to have a light heart, you want to um live your life, and
Yeah.
Dior, your integrity, your message, your core is there. You have that, and you need to trust that. And, don't worry about what others say, whatever you feel. Because I won't lie that I have at times felt like, oh my God, is this conscious enough?
Mhm.
But then I also had to take into account that my image, my confident image as a Black woman, speaking aloud my voice, embracing my complexion and my hair, the multi layers of myself, was adding to the natural integrity and authenticity that is there.
Mm.
Yes, I also go to the club. Yes, I also in front of the mirror dancing, and I put on makeup and I like to get dressed. Yes, I do too. And how can I still be me and do that? And that was an adjustment to just like relax,
Yeah. That's,
relax and
you
have
know, that's so, I don't even know if you realize just the impact of what you're saying, because
fun.
that's something I think so many, especially women and especially Black women, that
Mm-hmm.
we deal with. The, you know, it's hard trying to find the space of, you know, comfortable with self, yet speaking your message, yet being down. Like I actually wrote a poem about it. Like as Black women, it's like we're expected to be, you know, stay woke, stay calm, not be aggressive, be chill. Like there's a lot of pressure. And so I really appreciate you saying the adjustment of saying, you know what, I am going to just be authentic in who I am. That's
Yes.
it.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Authenticity, indeed. Mhm.
Wow. Well, Dior, as we come to the end of our
Wow.
conversation, I know,
Really? That was fast.
I
Time
know it's always,
flies
I
when you're having
always
fun.
hate this part, but it's like, no, we're going to keep it
Yeah.
small and confined. But what last gems, message, whatever you want to say directly to those watching now, what do you want to say to them? As if you haven't already dropped enough gems, they still probably recovering.
Thank you. Thank you. Um,
Yes. What else would you
yeah.
leave with people watching right now?
I think I would say keep going. Whatever your dream is in your mind, believe it, because believing it in it is the greatest manifestation. It is the greatest way to realize it, because sometimes it's not even going to come how you thought. It's going to come out better than you thought. And through your process and your work, it'll shock you. And you'll be looking up to the universe and God, like, I didn't know you was going to do it like this. you know? And then before you, and don't follow everyone else's blueprint. Don't do what everyone else, don't think you have to do it, excuse me. Don't think you have to do it like everyone else, that it has to look like everyone else. And we're so individually made that your path is unique to you. How about it? It's so unique that it deserves to be spotlighted and highlighted. So I would stay away from worrying about mimicking the next individual, and being you, and appreciating where your path is taking you.
Wow. That's powerful. Your path is so unique that it deserves to be spotlighted.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's deep. I love it.
I love your vibes. This is dope.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I'm just gonna have you back because
Oh,
I feel
oh,
like we have more layers to just to
okay.
talk about.
Yes, indeed. This is awesome. This show is awesome.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. And of course, like I said, the information is there on the screen. Definitely make sure that you check out this summit the end of this week. Yes, the DC Music Summit. Make sure you are involved in that support. Again, Dior, you have our support. We just
Hey,
appreciate what you're doing for the DMV, for the culture. And so, yes, once again, I could go on and on and on, but thank you so much. And for those watching, thank you for your support. And I will see you next time on Pivotal Moments with Lolita.
woo!